Get your cameras ready because we don't know what we'll see from Myles Garrett. The Rams built a monster, but Aaron Donald's shocking comeback could create the most terrifying defense the NFL has seen.
Speaking of the Rams, I would say they are the kings of the offseason. If we were handing out that award somewhere, remember they add Myles Garrett, the reigning defensive player of the year. They added Trent McDuffie, the two-time Super Bowl champion. Oh, by the way, just sitting at home, you got Matthew Stafford, the reigning league MVP. And I'm just curious, Coach, you probably pay to coach that team. but what would you say is the potential they have going into this season?
Hey, I think we can start and finish with the acquisition of Myles Garrett. Trust me, I speak for everyone in 3 cities in the northeastern part of the United States. They're glad he went west. When you think about the eye-popping stats that he's had over the last couple of years, and you think about the fact that he's been behind in most of those games, man, he gets on the L.A. Rams with Matt Stafford ringing up points, and this guy's going to have a lead in the fourth quarter. Get your camera ready, man. I don't know what we're going to see from Myles Garrett this year.
Yeah, there's no holes in what we see. If I had to think of something, I think of your 2 best players now on defense, Myles Garrett, Trent McDuffie, 2-time Super Bowl champ. Who's the alpha in the room? Who's the guy that everyone follows when adversity comes? This team is going to face some adversity. That happens in the NFL. I just wonder how that works out, who develops as that leader in the room, and does everybody like that as they go forward?
Yeah, we all know that assembling all-star teams is not necessarily a recipe for success, but I love the guys, both as players, Myles Garrett and Trent McDuffie, but also as people and as leaders. I think that team is gonna form really a strong unit there, and I think a lot of it goes back to their head coach, Sean McVay, elite offensive coordinator, in my opinion, a better head coach, has won with a lot of different coaches, a lot of different players through the years. And if you go to their facility, there's a big sign on the wall that says, "Be present." And I think that's going to be their biggest challenge. Everybody has them fast forwarding to February 13th in SoFi Stadium, already crowned them going to the Super Bowl. Sean McVay is going to bring them back and say, hey, we got to go through the steps. One day at a time, 1 week at a time. That's part of their culture. It's going to serve them well.
Hey, I know they have to cover a lot of ground, but so does everybody, okay? They get my August Lombardi.
No doubt.
Hey, hand it out now. Hand it out now.
Yeah.
And remember, the Rams have done this before. 2021, they bring in Matthew Stafford. They win the Super Bowl in L.A., which, oh, by the way, is where the Super Bowl will be.
But even a perfect roster can hide one unanswered question. And suddenly, the Rams faced a twist nobody saw coming. Because the biggest shock wasn't another blockbuster move. It was the possibility that a legend who walked away might not be finished yet.
And it broke on the NFL wire.
Right.
This is
crazy.
This is, something that comes out every day that all 32 teams get, and anybody who cares to take a look at it can find information on it. Like, say, the Bills had 3 guys trying out, and the Vegas Raiders had 3 guys trying out. The Miami Dolphins tried out 5 guys. And the Los Angeles Rams tried out a defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh named Donald, Aaron.
Tryout. Heard of him.
Well, the reason why it's called a tryout, it's the phrase that's used by the NFL when somebody was not signed officially to a roster, or is in this case a retired player, comes back and uses actual team equipment to work out. And I guess Aaron Donald is trying out
equipment
with the Rams.
So silly.
Technically, because it seems like, hey, if he wants to figure out what it's like to go through a practice, whatever, he's putting on a helmet. He put on a Rams helmet, and he's working out with, you remember Giff Smith? Does that name ring a bell to you?
No.
He was the interim coach for the Los Angeles Chargers when they bounced Brandon Staley towards the end of the 2023 season. Giff Smith is now the defensive line coach for the Rams. So if you're working out with a line coach and you're putting on team equipment, according, again, to the rules of the National Football League, you got to put it on the wire. Anybody who's using team equipment during training camp requires the organization to report the activity as a formal tryout. And so eagle-eyed reporters are picking up. Donald, Aaron is now officially on an NFL wire as a player trying out for the Los Angeles Rams. And the NFL Daily caught up with Sean McVay. Greg Rosenthal and Jordan Rodriguez, who covers the team for the NFL Daily. Greg Rosenthal had a little bit of fun with Sean McVay about Donald's name showing up on the NFL wire.
The NFL transaction wire had Aaron Donald working out with the Rams today, which I guess...
Did it come across as a tryout?
It did come across as
Best
a tryout
that we've ever had.
Why are you so obsessed with this, Rich? Why are you talking about this, Rich? Because Hall of Fame players do not come out of retirement every day. They don't really ever come out of retirement because a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer has decided to change addresses, or at least had the team oblige him finally to change an address. And teams that go ahead and make this move rarely have the reigning MVP of the league on a team that also added a Pro Bowl defensive back that nobody talks about in Trent McDuffie, because we're all talking about, is he back yet? Because Myles Garrett's in town, and it rarely happens on a team that came oh so close to making the Super Bowl the year before with a talent roster that is laden with big-time players.
The NFL might have just created its next nightmare. Because when you combine a reigning MVP quarterback, the reigning defensive player of the year, and one of the league's smartest coaches, you are no longer talking about a normal contender. You are talking about a team that could break the balance of the entire league. The Los Angeles Rams entered this offseason like they had something to prove. And they didn't just make moves. They made statements. They added Myles Garrett, the unstoppable pass rusher who has terrorized quarterbacks for years and earned Defensive Player of the Year honors. They brought in Trent McDuffie, a two-time Super Bowl champion who already knows what winning at the highest level feels like. And sitting behind center, they still have Matthew Stafford, the reigning league MVP, the quarterback who has already delivered a championship to Los Angeles. This roster isn't being built for a rebuild. It is being built for February. But now, something happened that could completely change the conversation. Because the Rams already had a monster. And then the impossible rumor appeared. Could the greatest defensive player of his generation be thinking about coming back? Everyone knows what Myles Garrett can do. But there is one terrifying detail people are forgetting. For years, Garrett has been producing historic numbers while often playing from behind. Opposing offenses knew Cleveland needed him to make impossible plays. But now, he joins a Rams offense capable of putting points on the scoreboard. And that changes everything. Because pass rushers become completely different weapons when they have a lead. When quarterbacks are forced to throw. When every third down becomes a survival situation. That is why the warning from around the NFL is simple. Get your cameras ready. Because nobody knows what Myles Garrett could become when he finally has an offense giving him opportunities to attack. This could be the most dangerous version of Garrett we have ever seen. But even with all that talent, there is one question nobody can ignore. Who becomes the voice of this defense? Because greatness alone does not guarantee championships. The Rams may have solved their talent problem. But now comes the harder challenge. Leadership. Because when you put elite personalities together, someone has to become the heartbeat. Myles Garrett, Trent McDuffie. Two players with championship expectations. Two players capable of changing games. But when adversity hits, when the season gets difficult, when injuries appear, when the pressure rises, who becomes the player everyone follows? That is the question that separates great teams from forgotten super teams. Because history has shown us something important. Collecting stars does not automatically create a championship. Chemistry does. Culture does. And that is where Sean McVay becomes the biggest factor. Inside the Rams facility, one message reportedly stands above everything. Be present. Not February. Not the Super Bowl. Not the celebrations. Today. Tomorrow. The next opponent. Because McVay knows something most people forget. Championships are not won in August. They are built through thousands of small decisions before anyone reaches the biggest stage. And that philosophy might become even more important now. Because the Rams suddenly have another story dominating the NFL. A story nobody expected. Then came the moment that sent NFL fans into disbelief. The NFL transaction wire showed something almost impossible. Aaron Donald, listed with the Los Angeles Rams, trying out. Now, technically, an NFL tryout does not mean a player has signed. It is simply the league's official term when a player participates in team activities without being on the roster. But this situation was different. Because this was not an unknown rookie. This was Aaron Donald, a first-ballot Hall of Fame defensive tackle, a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, a player many believed had closed the final chapter of his career. And suddenly, his name was back. The reason? If a retired player participates in training camp activities using official team equipment, the NFL requires that activity to be reported. And that is why the football world stopped. Because legends do not normally walk away, then suddenly appear again. Especially not on a team that already added Myles Garrett. Especially not on a roster with Matthew Stafford. Especially not on a defense that was already expected to be one of the league's best. Think about what this means. Offenses already have to prepare for Myles Garrett attacking the edge. Now imagine the possibility of Aaron Donald collapsing the middle. One player destroys the pocket from outside. The other destroys it from inside. And behind them, a championship-caliber secondary featuring Trent McDuffie. This is no longer just about adding talent. This is about creating a defense that forces quarterbacks into impossible decisions. The Rams already proved they can build a championship roster. In 2021, they made the massive move for Matthew Stafford and finished the story by winning the Super Bowl in Los Angeles. Now they are chasing history again. But this time, the question is much bigger. Because if Aaron Donald truly returns, the Rams might not just have the best roster in football, they might have created something the NFL has never seen before. A defense built with yesterday's legend and tomorrow's nightmare. And the rest of the league? They are watching, waiting, and wondering one thing. How do you stop this?
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.